Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you, Judge. How are you?
All right. Good afternoon. Look, I apologize. We're having technical delays. I'm using the NAACP's technology, and they sent Madam President the validation code to get everybody on, and I didn't have it, so I had to wait for, to try to get through to her. She's participating in the interviews of the new school board president or superintendent. So I'm just waiting for everybody, see if I can get everybody on.
I got nowhere to go, Judge. I'm yours.
All right, that's excellent. I apologize again for the delay, and hopefully I can get everybody. We are recording, so I'm trying to make sure that I do these things timely, and I'll try to get Mr. Walters on. I'm actually using my phone as opposed to my computer. It's just I couldn't get through on my computer, so. There must be something good about to happen when you have all of these delays and problems. So hang in there with me, everybody. Yeah.
I was having the same problem.
Same problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I was about to go in on my phone too, but it popped up, so I was happy to hear that.
For some reason, all my CPU is being used. Wow. So it wouldn't let me bring up the Zoom. So hopefully I can get everybody on. I see most people logging in. So come on in, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. Brown.
You know what, the last meeting we had, I was going to ask if everyone wanted to talk about summer break. This may be it. I don't have a quorum yet, but the technology. So, all right. Let's see. Hopefully my phone won't die out on me while I'm using it.
Judge, anybody I can try to get on the? I have my cell phone. I can call.
Well, you know what? I don't have the list, so we'll try to wait a few more minutes. It's 3:12 now, and I don't want to delay everybody. We can at least do some informative stuff if necessary. I got a text from someone, but they're not in my contacts. I don't have a name for them, so so
could be anybody.
Yeah, I tell you, saying that they have an emergency and they won't make the meeting today, so I don't know whose number that is. Okay, Ella is trying to get on. Let's see what we can do. Hey, Miss Brown, how you doing?
Okay, how are you, Judge Holmes?
Oh, not too bad. You sit so quietly every meeting we have, so I'll engage you in conversation.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to check for the participants. I know we have some people who are on the other side of the meeting. I'll try to bring them over as necessary. Okay, I've got some people on the phone. I'm looking for Mr. Bush. Mr. Bush, are you there? Tevis Bush.
That is our new Broward DJJ supervisor.
Yeah, I got an email that he had been appointed as the new chief. So I'm gonna try to get him on. Mr. Weeks, are you still trying to get on?
Ella Phillips has her hand raised along with James Casey. They're on the participant side.
I was just over there trying to get them. They all are. So let me go to the participants and let's see if I can get them over. Okay. And I don't know if I can do that from my cell phone. Ella, I don't see you. Okay, I see you. Let's see if I can bring you over. Victor London. I should have brought you over. Did you say John James? I've gone through the list a couple of times. I don't see them.
John James is on there, Church.
All right, I'm gonna bring him over on behalf of Mr. Weeks, but I'll move him back once he starts giving me grief. How's that?
Thank you, Judge and Chair.
All right, I still don't see Mr. Bush. But if you all see him, let me know. All right, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need one more. One more. Well, I tell you what, let's just start. We just can't conduct any business without a quorum, but I at least want to get some information out on an informational basis. And I'll keep checking. Ella, if you do be my eyes and let me know when Mr. Bush comes. I do want to bring him over to let him introduce himself to the board. All right, why don't we just start with, and for the record, it is 3:16 p.m. and I'll take the blame for it, and Judge Robolo will buy everybody dinner. Because he's got a fluid paycheck.
There's a great French restaurant called Chez McDonald's.
Hey, Judge, and after July 1, he's gonna have a nice paycheck, right?
Okay.
I could crank it up to Shea Burger King.
Okay, Shea Baker. No, I was thinking of Shea Wendy's. Shea Wendy's. But nonetheless, let's start with the introductions. I'll start with myself, even though my name comes up as Marsha Ellison. She is the secretary of this board, but she is at the school board this afternoon as one of the invitees to help to interview the finalists for the school superintendent position. So because I'm using the NAACP equipment, because I was their appointment on this board, and so I still use their technology. I'm Alona Holmes, and I have the fortunate honor and pleasure to chair this CAB board. All right, who's next?
Ella Phillips, Advisory Board.
I'm unmuted. Colonel David Holmes, Broward County Sheriff's Office. I'm the Executive Director for the Department of Law Enforcement. Proud to be here.
Carlos Robolo, Circuit Court Judge. I sit in the Juvenile Delinquency Division.
Major London? Was that the photo of you?
It's me, Major Victor London, Fort Lauderdale Police Department's Executive Office.
Okay. And Mr. James, I was asked to allow you to address the board on behalf of Mr. Weeks, because you are very instrumental on our data collection board. So why don't you introduce yourself?
No problem. Good afternoon. I believe I am standing in for Mr. Weeks this afternoon. I'm John James, Public Defender's Office.
All right, Ella, did you see anybody else join in?
Not
no,
yet.
No, Mr. Bush?
No, Mr. Bush.
Okay. Well, as they come on.
Somebody has their hand up. Can you?
Yes, that's Mr. Bush, Madam Chair. He's coming in under Ms. Davis for DJJ. She just contacted me.
Okay, all these aliases. All right, Ms. Michelle, don't arrest anybody, because that would have me included. So he's on for Ms. Davis. Well, Ms. Davis wouldn't be on here anyway, so he's just using her link.
Right.
Okay, that's Natalie Davis Goodman?
Goodman.
Yes.
Okay, let me put him on. Okay, and if you see anyone else, just let me know. Especially for Mr. Walters also. All right, okay, what was that? We got somebody else?
I was introducing myself, Yolanda Brown, Court Administration.
All right, good afternoon. And Ms. Mashala?
Good afternoon, Gloria Michella with the State Attorney's Office Juvenile Division.
All right, good afternoon. Did I miss anybody that's on the panelist side?
Will
Okay.
Mr. Walters be on by his phone number? Because otherwise we won't know. I think he will.
I didn't see it.
Because I see a phone number, but that's
Mr.
it.
Walters, is that you?
It's ending in 917.
You know what? I think somebody ought to entertain a motion to have Secretary Ellison to fire me for the technology when she gets back. Is there a second for that?
None.
I thought we didn't have quorum where we couldn't conduct business, Judge. So I don't think.
Well, that's why I'm trying to find out if Mr. Walters is on the phone, then we have a quorum.
But we wouldn't be able to. We wouldn't be able to entertain that motion that you're trying to push right now.
Ella, that number begins with a 561. I don't think that's Mr. Walters' number. I think he's in our area code.
Okay.
All right. And there's a question. Mr. Casey, you know, is that just to let me know you're on James Casey, System Improvement Coach? That's wonderful, but I don't do this on a regular basis, so this not my real job. Okay, so all right, I'm only bringing people on who are either board members or who are going to address the panel. So I don't. Everybody just hang tight, and we'll see what we can do. But I don't see Mr. Bush, and that's a part of me introducing him. So. When he comes on, let me know. All right. We don't have a full quorum, so we've introduced ourselves, and I'll just go through the norms, and then when we get a quorum, we can just start in and transact business. I'm going to ask everyone to mute their cell phones the best you can. I'm using mine, so hopefully it won't go off. Also, raise your hands if you have a question. Ms. Phillips is going to help me recognize the hands. I have a small screen today. Also going to ask you to try to limit your presentations to 3 minutes or less, unless you are presenting, so that I can get everybody's comments. Also, respect the opinions and viewpoints of everyone except Mr. James. And then address each other respectfully. Do the best you can, Mr. James. All right, I wanted to introduce the new person. We mentioned his name several times. His name is, I think it's pronounced Tevis Bush. He's the new Chief Probation Officer in the 17th Circuit. Judge Robolo, have you met him? You're on mute.
I have not met him, no.
Okay, this would have been a good meeting time then. Okay.
Judge, somebody sent in, Madam Chair, that they gave his cell phone number. I don't know if that helps, Mr. Bush.
Well, he was informed of our meeting, so I normally don't track down folk that want to meet us. I let them track us down so they can meet us. So we'll see if he joins us. I wanted to talk about what we had lively discussion on, and for the first time ever on this board, we had total consensus about the backpacks, the clear backpacks. Well, I'm happy to announce that yesterday the school board voted it down. They decided that was not the answer. For the first time, I saw some rationality coming out of that board. I spent a day with them, and I guess I shouldn't say it in public, but I've never been one to mince my words. But for the first time, they were all in agreement that that does not solve the problem. Firearms, as Ms. Hickson said, February 14th of that year, 2018, was not because of a backpack. It was because of staffing. That was her comments. So I'll leave it at that, but we just avoided a major problem by them not wanting clear backpacks. Cuts down on work for Mr. James and Ms. Mashallah. Colonel Holmes, I don't have Mr. Obel on. You're all still working on ways to provide opportunities for children to participate in programming without the banner of and going into the DJJ system just because they don't want to be at home and on the streets.
Yes, I know Mr. Obel has been working with the Deerfield Beach District, and I know they're getting things off the ground running. But one of the new programs that we have here at the Sheriff's Office, this is, I believe it's its third year in the making, but we just started our LEAD camp, LEAD, which stands for Learning, Education, and Developing Camp. And it is a program for our youth, ages 12 to 17, where we teach them. We have programs here in-house, and we travel outside of the agency too, where we teach them in areas such as education, entrepreneurship, life skills, career development, financial literacy, community service, government and civic responsibility, and health and wellness. We have experts in these areas come in and speak to these youth. The sheriff is a big proponent of this program. Yeah, we had opening family night a week ago, and we had a great turnout. But we have between 30 and 35 kids involved in this program, and it's excellent. We've had several kids from the previous program go on to earn academic scholarships. So this is a program that's supported from top to bottom, and we expect great things out of it. So you'll hear more about it as we go on throughout the summer. I mentioned more and more about the specialized programs that they're involved in, but it's a positive thing. And then I'll find out the latest from Mr. Obel on how his program is going and the support that he's getting from the Sheriff's Office, which should be tons of support.
Well, let me ask you this. How are the participants selected for the LEAD program?
Yeah, this is a screening process. They get it from the schools. And then we have a board here at the Sheriff's Office that goes through each applicant and, make sure that the person meets the qualifications. I don't have these specific qualifications right here, but I know that they have to be in good academic standards and not be in any trouble with the law, and have been involved in the past with community service, providing their expertise to the community. But I have all the specific details for you in the next meeting, just so everyone will be on the same page.
And is it also male and female?
Yes, male and female, and it's youth from all over Broward County. It's not just one particular area, from top to bottom of the county. And like I said, 30 to 35 kids.
And when did it start?
Several years ago. I think it was right before COVID. We were able to get one class in, and then we had one in last year. I think this is the third one. But it's been very, very successful. And it's something that the sheriff really supports. It's actually the leader this is the brainchild from retired Major Kevin Granville. He came up with this program years ago, and we got it off the ground, and he has since retired. and he passed the reins on to Lieutenant Adrian Philpart from our Department of Detention. And she had worked with him previously. She was his assistant. Now she's the leader of the program, and she's doing a great job, you know, as expected. And her assistant is one of our civilians who runs our grant program, Norma McGraw. And both of them as a team, they get tons of support from, like I said, the sheriff at the top and all of the command staff and the districts as well.
Oh, that's excellent. Any questions of Colonel Holmes regarding the LEAD program? And we'll talk a little bit more about that. But you said that the schools do the appointment. So now that school is out, the program's actually basically closed to any new participants.
Right. Yeah, we just started on June 10th. That was the first session. And that was like a family night where the families got a chance to come in, and the sheriff did a presentation along with the other volunteer staff members, because we have quite a few volunteers from the Broward County Sheriff's Office internally, from DLE and DOD, and as well as many civilians that volunteer their time for this program. And we had our open house, and it was a huge success, and they got a chance to hear from the sheriff himself about his good old days back in Philadelphia. Judge Holmes, familiar with that, right, Judge? I'm
pleading the fifth. You know, thank God my mother brought us down south.
Go Eagles.
All right. Anything else for Colonel Holmes? All right, Major London, does Fort Lauderdale have anything going on this summer for the children that you know of?
Yes, we have the annual Teen Summit. That'll be happening on July the 7th from 7 to 3 p.m. And it's open to the community's youth. They can come out for breakfast. Similar training to what the Colonel was just speaking about. Development, information for the youth, law enforcement and the youth, many different topics, but that'll be happening at Stranahan on July 7th, 7 to 3 p.m. Breakfast.
Now, how are the participants chosen? How do people get involved with that?
There's a flyer I can send to, if I get an email, I can send it to the group. And there's a QR code for registration, and it's open to the public. We get great participation from the various youth groups, PACE, you name it. So it's a very big event. We've been doing it for, I want to say, close to 10 years. So I will send a flyer if I can get an email address, and you can disseminate it. Okay.
Well, my email address is real simple. JUDGEHOLMESRET@gmail.com. Judge Holmes RET@gmail.com. I've got other emails, but that's the one I will look at on a daily basis.
Okay, I'll forward that, and it has the flyer with the QR code, and it's put on in conjunction with the Fort Lauderdale Black Police Officers Association, United Way, FPL, and it's a great event. So I'll send it to the group, or send it to you for dissemination to the group.
Any questions of Major London regarding Fort Lauderdale's program? Anybody else know of any other summer program? I'd like to get the word out about these programmings. Does the state attorney's office, Ms. Michelle, have an internship program or anything like that going on in the summer?
Our interns are generally college students, law students, and sometimes high school students, but we can't, we have to kind of tailor it to that. I have to be careful in our unit, obviously. I can't have necessarily at-risk youth like the law enforcement agencies can, because there might be a conflict. So, but I know Mr. Olbell has been communicating with Mr. Pryor, so I know they're in communication about some things that Mr. Olbell is trying to hopefully get off the ground with our office's support.
Okay, excellent. All right, Ms. Phillips, you got your hand up. I know about the Public Defender's Office program. Can you or Mr. James speak to that? Has it started already?
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I'm just trying to let you know, Mr. Bush is saying he's on, and there are 3 Natalie Davis Goodman, and they're saying he's under his phone number that is not listed. So I think one of the Natalie Goodmans may be Mr. Bush. I'm not sure, but I keep getting his
some of them hang up so I can just get one. I brought over a Goodman before and made them a panelist, so I guess it wasn't the right one. So if you all can, hang up and call back and give me just one, so I'll know. It's confusing to see three different names. So Ella, I don't know if I gave you host privileges, but I'm looking at Goodman now, and so there's a whole bunch of folks. Natalie Davis Goodman, I'm bringing that one over. Who did I bring over? Who's on the other end of the Natalie Davis Goodman? I got the hand up. All right. Is this the one, Natalie Davis Goodman?
They have a hand up.
Okay, if you're on, you can, it says
hello.
You're on mute. Can you hear me?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes, this is the newly appointed Circuit 17 Probation Officer, Tevis Bush.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Bush.
Good afternoon. I apologize. I'm traveling back to Ocala from a meeting, so I was trying to pull over and trying to get on as quick as I could.
Well, welcome, I think. You'll be meeting with the executive board of this cab shortly. I think we'll extend an invitation. But my understanding from Dr. Hall is that you will act as a liaison between DJJ and this cab board.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything we ought to know about you?
Just a little bit about my background. I got over 30 years with DJJ, starting back in 1993. Been a part of residential services, probation, program accountability, and just dedicated to working with these kids. Just a little bio for me as far as my personal. I'm from Broward County, born and raised. Grew up in the 33311 area and currently live in the 33313 area. So I'm pretty aware of the dynamics of those zip codes.
Okay. Well, we look forward. I'll get with Mr. Weeks and Ms. Ellison, and we will schedule a meeting so that we can have a face-to-face to see who you are, and you can tell us what you think you can do for us as our liaison.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, well, hang on and drive safely, especially coming through Marion County. I'm just saying. I know Ocala very well. I have friends and family there, so just be careful going through. That's all. All right. Well, did Mr. Walters? I scrolled through again. I didn't see his. All right. So we're still. This is for informational purposes, but we're doing a whole lot. Mr. James, talk to me because I got a very disturbing email from Mr. Weeks saying that you all were not getting the data that you requested, and we got Ms. Butterfield on as a participant. And I'll certainly, unmute her and get some information from her as to why we can't get what we need to do the job that the secretary wanted us to do. I did what I was asked to do. And that's the former committee.
Right. I can't answer the question as to why. I can tell you that I did receive a correspondence from Ms. Butterfield indicating that they have the information. But I think it needs to go through another channel before they can release it. I could tell you, I have several public records requests out to DJJ, and it normally takes some time because they have to go through a redaction period. So I'm assuming that that's what she was referring to. But I'm hopeful that we'll get the information and we'll have something to report to the board by the next meeting.
Hey, Ms. Butterfield, I just moved you over to the panelist side so you can talk to me. Can you hear me, Ms. Butterfield? Are you on mute?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes, Ms. Butterfield. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, so our data presentation is ready. Like I said in the email to the subcommittee, it does have to go through approval, but we anticipate that to be done today or tomorrow at the latest. So that's why I did indicate in the email, if we can go ahead and set our meeting for the next subcommittee, it will be ready by the time we have it, assuming it'll likely be next week.
Mr. James, do you know when the next meeting will be held?
Well, I wasn't trying to push a meeting yet until we get the actual documentation. I like to know that I have something in hand before I'm going to say that we're going to meet. So I wasn't looking to ask the board when they're available yet, or the committee members, when they were available until we actually had that information in hand. Because if everybody said they're available tomorrow and we still hadn't had a chance to review it, then it would be pointless.
Okay, Ms. Butterfield, what do you think? Basically, what is wanted is the information before you call a meeting. So,
right.
So, Ms. Butterfield, can you answer that? You said you'll have it for the next meeting, but Mr. James is saying, why call a meeting if we don't have what we need? It's just a waste of time and people's efforts. So can there be some kind of common ground to set a specific date for the tendering of the information so that Mr. James will have it and Mr. Weeks will know when to schedule a meeting of the subcommittee? Did I lose you, Ms. Butterfield? Stella, I made you co-host, so see if you can grab her again. She's still on there?
I think we lost her.
Okay. Well, you know, a lot of times people want to call meetings and then you call these meetings and nothing gets done because folks don't have what they need to make, to discuss things. I'm, in agreement with Mr. Weeks. Give me the information so I can disseminate it to the board so that the meetings will be more productive. So I see Ms. Butterfield back. You're on mute, Ms. Butterfield. So Hello. Can you all agree to a common date?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hi. Okay, sorry, I was here. Yes, I could hear you. I will guarantee you that we will have the data for you. If you want to wait, like I said, we're anticipating approval today or tomorrow at the latest, and I would be happy to send that out as soon as we get it if you want to wait for that. I was just trying to take some time by saying, let's get the ball rolling. If we have to do a poll as to see whose dates are ready, but I can guarantee you we will have the data because it is ready. We're just waiting on the final approval.
Mr. James, if you and Mr. Weeks would, call Ms. Butterfield, get in touch with her, give her a specific date that you want the data, and then schedule a meeting. I think that's the proper way to do it. But that way you can disseminate the data to the board members, to the subcommittee members, so that they'll at least have something that they can look at when you're talking about it, rather than to get it at a meeting and try to look at it and talk at the same time. Right.
That's not a problem. And if Ms. Butterfield is saying that we'll have it by the end of the week, then I think then that if we get it by end of the week, then we will disseminate that information, and also the email will come out first thing of next week to see if we can coordinate a date between myself, Mr. Weeks, Madam Secretary, Ms. Michelle. I believe Ms. Michelle is on the meeting. Also, I believe Tamika Gaynor's on that committee as well. Also, Mr. Walters. So we'll have someone to go ahead and send that email to start coordinating a meeting date I know the summer is a little rough, so we would love to try to get it done before the next board meeting.
Well, the next board meeting will be July 12th. So,
I understand.
Hopefully we'll have something, because it'd be good to know. And don't forget, don't leave out the girls. I'm reading more and more studies about the increase in violence of females, especially in the juvenile justice system. So,
absolutely.
Okay, great. Any questions of Mr. James, who was actually sitting in on behalf of Mr. Weeks? Any questions about the data? All right, data committee, y'all do me proud. I want to make sure that I don't know who else has a committee established yet, but I think we may have been among the first. So y'all know how competitive I am. Civil citations and missed opportunities. Again, Ms. Gaynor was having some difficulty getting data. Ms. Gaynor is ill, and I don't think she's on with us, but she said there would be someone in her stead. So if you'll raise your hand if you're covering for Ms. Gaynor or making that report, Ms. Phillips will see you and move you over to the participant side. I mean, to the board side. So anyone here to do that report?
I don't see anyone. You can also indicate it in the chat, but for right now, I don't see anyone.
If you're here to make the report for Ms. Gaynor, Tamika Gaynor, if you'll please put that in the chat, we'll bring you over so we can get some information from you. Ella, let me know. And Mr. James, I kept you here to let me know. Got Ms. Mashala here. Any updates, any new happenings with the juveniles and the domestic violence arrests? That's a different category that they don't receive civil citations, but we were concerned that they falling through the cracks, but you and Ms. Mashala were able to figure it out, find out where they are. So have those arrests gone up, gone down?
No, they pretty much I don't want to say staying steady, but they are staying steady. We constantly see them. They make up, I would say, a large majority of our juvenile detention dockets. And then just continuously dealing with the issue of no respite care in Broward County. I believe we were close to getting something done with that. Judge Williams was working very diligently on that issue, on that matter, but I don't think that we quite had it figured out just yet. So in terms of the numbers are still steady. But I think if we can address this issue with respite care, it'll help keep the numbers down from a detention standpoint. So that's what we're looking to see.
Ms. Mashala, you agree with that?
I can't speak to the number on the detention docket. I do believe, and Judge Robolo may be able to confirm this, that I thought, Mr. James, that the Littman Center is being utilized. I thought they figured out they could use that center from the last meeting that we had. That was my understanding. Maybe even Yolanda knows, because we've had several meetings with Judge Williams to keep updated on that.
Yes. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Madam Judge, Chair. Yes, at our last meeting, we had the representative from the Littman Center who appeared and stated that we could send youth with domestic violence charges over to the Littman Center if they had a felony case pending. So that was an issue with the city of Oakland Park, where they weren't accepting youth who had felony offenses, but the gentleman assured us that they would accept youth with felony offenses. However, a couple of weeks ago, they didn't have any beds available. I don't know if the situation has changed since that time.
Mr. James, you know anything about that?
I know about that, Judge, but then what I do know, I'm dealing with So let me say this. I don't go by what people say, I go by what I see. And what I see is that continuously on our dockets, we have kids that are there for 48-hour reviews. 48-hour review tells me that they don't have a place to go. That mom or dad has said they didn't want them back home, and then they're still going through looking for respite care. I will say that one of the problems that we have is that correct. Some of the kids are charged with felony-related offenses, which don't afford them the opportunity to go to the living center. They say that they can, but we still are not seeing them going in that area. So no, I'm not going to say that.
We got a long road to go.
And listen, and if I'm wrong, Judge Robrolo has the ability to correct me. He sits in a chair where he has detentions once a month. I think he just had it about 2 weeks ago, if memory serves me correct. And he could tell you the amount of children that he saw that was on his docket for 48-hour review.
Judge Robrolo, can you speak to that?
I can, Madam Chair. It's the same old thing. We do get plenty of, for a while there, the two biggest things we get is, which I wish it would decrease, was the domestic violence and the threatening to shoot up schools. The domestic violence, we had met Judge Williams's committee, and Judge Williams had made some headway. And you know what it's all about, Judge? It's all about the money. But in looking at everything possible and conceivable, Lippman said, yeah, no, we could take some. First time I tried to get somebody in there, there's a waiting list. So it's the same old, Judge. I wish I could give you better news, Judge, but I can't.
Well, you know what? Let me just say this. Sometimes you know, relationships can get you a whole lot more than the other judges did. You know, I had a whole wing in the jail for my defendants. They called it the Holmes wing. Those that needed drug, you know, they were trying to get, you know, remember to show the certificates and be able to get downward departure and things of that nature. And, you know, so I made real nice with them. And I had like 6 beds when everybody else was on a wait list. So, you know, maybe, you know, take up some edible fruit and, you know, sometimes you got to go beyond the road at times. So I'm just making that suggestion.
That's a good suggestion, Judge.
Okay.
That's a great suggestion.
All right, Colonel Holmes, can you speak to that? What do y'all got?
I tell you, one of the things I wanted to ask, we haven't received any missed opportunity reports in quite some time. If we can find out the status of those reports, it would help us address any issues or concerns that we may have, because we made it a priority within our agency that our patrol staff really adopt the civil citation program when appropriate. So, you know, if there's any issues or concerns, I want to be able to address each one individually and get some answers. But I haven't heard anything in quite some time.
Yeah, they stopped when Chief Evans left. I couldn't get anything out of Stallings, and I don't know if I can get anything out of Bush.
Yeah.
You know, when the men come, I'm just making a certain observation, you know. So, but it's crucial to the business that we conduct on this board that we get those. And Chief Stallings was here the last meeting, and I made a issue, and he made you know, the comment, well, they come from somewhere else. If Chief Evans could get that information for us and the men can't, I don't know what's going on. Either they're not looking or they don't care. And they can address that with me at a later time. Yeah, I'm not going to spend time doing my board meeting to find out why I can't get information from DJJ.
Yeah.
And this is a DJJ board.
Yeah, we need it because we want to make sure that our deputies are following our protocols and our policies. So in order for us to make sure that they are, we need the numbers. We need to find out if there's any issues, any concerns, so we can correct them. So just keeping our fingers crossed. But we are reiterating to our staff every month. We make sure that we reiterate to our staff the importance of not having any missed opportunities. And if we do have a missed opportunity, we need a thorough explanation as to why.
Yeah, we haven't gotten reports for March, April, or May, and here we are in June, in the mid part of June. July, August, I mean, Christmas will come around sometime, and, you know, maybe we'll get a gift. But it just seems like, you know, I don't know what to say. We need those missed opportunity reports. And, you know, if Chief Evans was able to get them, maybe she had forged relationships so that she could get the information that this board so desperately needs to do its business.
And we're working hard. Excuse me, Madam Judge. Yeah. We're still working hard trying to get the other municipalities on board. We're trying to get them to follow the lead and really making sure this program is enforced and out in the field. So in order to do so, we really got to have the information and to show where we're heading.
I agree. I agree. So I'll keep trying to keep the lid on here, but you know, we do business in this board, and Ms. Gaynor was not able to get that information before she went out ill. I got nobody talking about it. I certainly made note of it at our last meeting, which is on YouTube. All right. Major London, do you know anything about anything?
Yeah, on May 12th, I did get a missed opportunities report from Leslie Rodriguez, who works for Ms. Gaynor. And
okay, so you got a report, but Colonel Holmes, did you get one?
Yeah, it was sent. It was covering the date range of January 2023 through April 2023.
Well, Ms. Rodriguez dropped the ball because, you know, she just sent it to Fort Lauderdale and not to the rest of us. That's no help. Mr. James, did you get one?
Absolutely not. The last time I've seen any numbers regarding missed opportunities is when Ms. Evans had the helm. And we was getting them a little slow, but I still appreciated the fact that she still was getting them to us. But I would love for when I understand that Mr. Bush is taking over now, that he actually can get us this information in a timely manner. I know that I used to go through it religiously to make sure that we can verify certain information. So no, I have not seen it, and I would love to see it.
Ms. Mashala, did your office receive anything?
No, Madam Chair, but I believe the report is on the DJJ website and anybody can access it. But Chief Starling I can see Chief Starling's on. He can answer to that.
That is not up to date. That thing is months old. Yeah, no, that's not anything to rely on. We used to get, I guess, I don't want to say time sensitive, but actually very accurate information from Ms. Evans, especially at the beginning. Well, last year, definitely the beginning of this year was a little slower, but we still got information that we could rely on. That information on the website is old.
And you know, if there's supposed to be, that's a part of them as their liaison's duty to give me that information. Why do I have to spend my time, precious time, billable hours to find that when they just access and give it to me? You know, so. I don't know. I'll check with Ms. Rodriguez. I don't know who she is, but she'll find out who I am. So I'll make that call. All right. Thank you, Major London, for letting me know. Sometimes it's always good to have a name in my mind when I'm looking for somebody. So I'll find her. Yeah, all right.
Madam Chair, Gregory Starling is trying to say something. He has his hand up.
Is he going to tell me when I'm going to get these reports on time? I don't know. You can give him access. Let him talk. I'll let you know when to cut him off if he's not telling me what I need to hear. You can give him access. Matter, you only have to bring him over. You can just do the drop down and let him talk.
He should be able to talk.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Madam Chair.
I'm listening.
All right. Well, I appreciate the opportunity. Certainly, so the last reports produced were from April. So we received the report with data and research the time of the month. So the 10th of each month, is when the data is pulled and compiled by headquarters. So the following month, so the 10th, so this week, actually we should be able to produce the data before the end of the week that we get from headquarters. So there's nothing independent that we do as a circuit for statewide. So the missed opportunities report will be sent to the circuit this week. The thing about it with Gainer, they need it far in advance. So the timing of the board meeting is what affects the ability to have everything done by the 10th, 11th, or 12th of each month. So it's always going to be 1 month behind. So by the next board meeting, certainly she's going to have the data for the month of May that she'll be able to bring in. But I did send her the reports earlier in May. Mid-May is when I sent her the reports for the month of April.
But, you know, when we were last on, her last report was that she hadn't gotten anything for March or April.
Yeah, immediately after that meeting, because of the date, I was able to provide her the reports for April as well as March. So we have.
When will May be available?
It should be available now. It's just a matter of being able to go and pull it down. The 10th is when Data and Research actually produced the report. So based on today's date, so we should be able to go in and extract it from the web that we can extract as a circuit chief and be able to send out to the circuits. We have not received it from headquarters, but there's another independent measure that we can go in and pull it as chiefs and introduce it to our stakeholder group.
Well, so can you get that information to Ms. Gainer's office? I'm going to check with Ms. Rodriguez. If she was supposed to be on to make the report, then I need to find out why I don't see it. I didn't see her name, Ella. Did you see her, Rodriguez?
Okay. No, I've been looking. I haven't seen it.
Well, I thank you, Chief. But, you know, like I said, once you all have established a precedent, if Ms. Evans was able to get those documents for us, and every month we had something up to date, then that's what we have come to expect. And so I know you're telling me, well, that comes from different, but I never heard that from her. Okay, so I don't know, you know, like I said, relationships. That word is resounding in my mind, relationships. All right, thank you, Chief Stallings. Let's talk about the Juvenile Detention Center. Did anybody find Mr. Roosevelt? I miss him. I feel lost and alone. Oh my gracious. All right. How many juveniles are in custody? Male, female, you know, I need the whole spiel.
Let me move it because you can.
Oh, Colonel, you're on mute.
Okay, you want here in Broward, or you want DJJ's?
No, I want Broward. I want Broward first, okay. And then I'll branch out to DJJ.
Okay, I apologize. Okay. We currently have 11 males, 0 females that are housed at the Paul Ryan facility. You know, of the 11 males, we only had 1 disciplinary report on file. The others, no issues. There are no cases, positive cases of COVID-19 in the juvenile facility. No issues at all. In our total jail population, the system-wide, we have 3,634 inmates, and we have 4 positive. That's at the main jail. So we're paying close attention to that. But still at the juvenile facility, we have 0, and they all are getting proper educational teaching and any type of medical assistance that they need. Back in May, they had a family night. They said it went really well, and it was one of the largest crowds they've ever had. So that's something positive.
Thank you, Chief. Last night I was on a call, and we were alerted to the new strain of COVID. Mm-hmm. It looks like somebody's got the pink eye. That is normally that's the main sign for this new strain of COVID. So if you could be mindful of that, you know, just if they say they've been crying and their eyes are too red, that may be a sign. So so that's something to heed for all of you. Now whenever I'm at a store or something, somebody's too close to me, I'm looking in their eyes, see what color those eyes are. So, you know, just be mindful and careful of that. All right. Yes, any questions of Colonel Holmes with regard to Broward? The number of people in the Broward, juveniles in the Broward jail. All right. So it's time for everything. Major London, how many of these children you got in your jail?
We don't house juveniles, man.
One day y'all gonna slip up and I'm gonna catch you. Well, that's excellent. That's excellent. All right. Anything you want to add or comment on Colonel Holmes's report? How come they always have more people? Well, they got a bigger facility, you know, and they're still housing Fort Lauderdale arrests.
Yes, all arrests go to the county.
Okay. All right, more work for you, Colonel. All right, let's talk about DJJ. I think that's either Mr. Bush or Mr. Starling.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So we have 63 juveniles at the JDC Juvenile Detention Center. So 53 are males and 10 are females. And out of the 53 males, 6 of them are white, and the other 53, I'm sorry, 6 are white and the others are Black. And out of the females, 2 of the 10 females are white females.
Let me ask you them. Didn't that go up from last month?
Yes.
It was about 20 more. So it's the summertime. So I guess, is that the new Hilton, Broward Hilton?
Well, we have other kids that are transferred in from other JDCs that were having issues between Miami or Palm Beach. So we do bring other kids in from other facilities as well, and vice versa. Some kids from Broward may land in Miami. But right now, the 63 are not all Broward County youth.
All right.
Typically there are some no contact orders where certain kids cannot be in other facilities with other kids, or there were assaults against staff, so they move them to the other Broward facility as an example.
Are they receiving educational studies during the summer while they're in detention? That should be year long. If we got them in custody, then they should be getting some type of educational training.
Yes, Judge, education is year round.
Okay. Talk to me a little bit more about this STAR Academy that I've read about in the DJJ rundown. Do you know anything about that?
I am not familiar with the STAR Academy.
Well, it's supposed to be like the new education arm of DJJ to educate. Ms. Mashala, you know anything about that? Have you? I'm just telling you what I read. Y'all send me these magazines, I read them.
I think, Madam Chair, you're referring to what Secretary Hall put out, Chief Starling, about how they're going to approach programming in the commitment facilities so that these kids come out with actual certificates that can be utilized for trades or schooling or diplomas or GEDs. Isn't that what that's about?
Yeah. So okay. So we have Project Anchor. That's up on the Tallahassee Community College. So throughout the state of Florida, we have partnerships with institutions. So those juveniles who have their high school diplomas, once they are released, we're in a position to pay for continued education, whether it's vocational or either post-secondary, the traditional educational track. So those kids who are on conditional release or post-commitment probation are eligible. So we are vetting you to at least pursue this opportunity. But we do have sometimes certain kids just want to shut it down and, hey, I need a break. But that's what we have available statewide, because again, obviously our secretary has a big emphasis on education. That's super important as part of the work that we do. So it's pretty much changing up how we are moving when it comes to educational, our vocational opportunities for our young people, as opposed to doing the same old thing that we've always done historically. We're really, putting funding into the opportunity for continuing education and vocational training that we're paying for at our local colleges. It's particularly the trades industry just as well. So obviously falls in the vocational arena just as well.
Okay, thank you. Any questions, Chief Sterling? Y'all just trying to get off here early, and we are. The summer is normally light, but any word on the? I think we were in the budget, so Mr. James, you may be more knowledgeable about this because I don't have Mr. Weeks here, but you're sitting in on his behalf. I believe that the funding or request for funding was in an appropriations bill for Broward to get a new DJJ facility.
Judge, you are correct that that was submitted, but I think Mr. Starling would probably have that answer greater than I would. Okay. He worked for the people.
Well, I think the lawyers, though, that was Mr. Weeks' baby. So I'm just trying to give you first dibs.
No, we haven't seen any information to say whether or not it was actually approved. And I believe, if memory serves me correct, was it, Ms. Ella?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, it was funded. We have not got the parameters and what that is in the final part of that. As soon as we do, we will get it to you. But yes, we were included along with West Palm and Hillsborough.
Wait, I thought we were still waiting for the governor to sign off on the budget, though. Do we know if that's what that?
But you know, it's in the budget. It has, and he has his last part to do, and that's why they haven't sent it out yet. So far, it's a yes until we see it's done differently.
So in other words, hold my breath until I'm blue, and then you'll tell me the exhale. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. At least
we did get it to this far. It hasn't gotten this far in all these years. So at least we know we're on the table. You just need to get that final signature.
You know, those people who are listening in and looking in on this, I don't want you all to misunderstand when we're talking and we're happy about it. My ultimate goal is to make sure that we are not locking up children. That's the ultimate goal. However, if they have to go to a locked facility, it at least should be someplace where, you know, it's sanitary, no leaks. So because many of them come from, you know, environments that are like that, and we're putting them in an environment that's like that. Holding them, and they don't see a difference. And sometimes if you change your environment, you can change a mind and a life. So the facility is needed. I have toured the detention center. I was not pleased with what I saw. It's certainly not a place where I would want to be. I saw holes in walls and the smell from behind the cardboard that they put over the hole, you know. So if an adult wouldn't want to be in that type of place, then we shouldn't put children in that type of place. And the facility that we house them in now is just so old, it's outdated. You know, if you tore it down, you probably find no use for anything that's in it. So it is time, if we put them in a better facility, but we're not trying to warehouse children. So I don't want you to get that misunderstanding that, you know, okay, judge wants the children to be in a Taj Mahal jail. I don't want to be in jail at all. Okay, so that's my disclaimer and my clarification while we're talking about a new facility. Anything else from the legislature? Anybody hear anything? New juvenile rules. Mr. Weeks will put that out since he's chair of the legislative committee for this board. So he'll let you know the changes in the law. I will say this, that yesterday, Secretary Ellison appeared at the school board. They were talking about the Promise program. And doing away with it. Matter of fact, they would have gotten away with it had she not shown up. And I think she called for some backup. Mr. James and Ms. Phillips, you all went. I was meeting with the ABA yesterday. I'll report on that later, but there's some interesting things that the ABA is working on as involves juveniles. So Mr. James or Miss Phillips, can you give us a little bit of insight as to what happened at the disciplinary meeting yesterday?
So we had an opportunity to present to the school board regarding the Promise program. And I actually want to say shout out to our elected state attorney, Harold Pryor, for leading the way with this. He was the one to start with a very good introduction and a great way to segue to getting into Promise and talking about the responsibility for schools to deal with school-related infractions and not treat every incident as criminal, to avoid the prison, the school to prison pipeline. And he made a demand and asked that we be brought to the table. So before they start making the decisions regarding what that looks like, that and getting away with Promise, that we be brought to the table, which also gave an opportunity for me to speak on the issue, and then for Madam Secretary Ellison to just kind of finish it up and just clean it up. That resulted in us receiving an email asking for us to be a part of the subcommittee, to reintroduce that subcommittee again with Ms. Jody Washington with the school board. So I'm glad that the school board they took an opportunity to listen to us. And then we saw immediate results with them at least getting us back to the table to have the conversation regarding the Promise program, because I think there was a huge mislabeling of the Promise program as a pre-arrest diversionary program. And I was very clear on asking Madam Secretary Ellison, and I also asking Mr. Harold Pryor, State Attorney Pryor, not to label it when we're speaking to the school board as a diversionary program, because I don't see it as a diversionary program, which I think it opened up the doors for it to be treated the way that it has been treated now. It is a school intervention, school-based intervention program. That's what we need it to be, that's what it should be, and that's how it should be treated. But I think there's some other red tape that has to happen with that. But I'm thankful that we had a chance to speak on it. We're seeing some results right now, and I'm hoping that we'll see even better results in the future.
Ms. Phillips, you want to add anything to that?
And just to say the collaboration and having the conversation that the stakeholders were not at the table when any discussions were being had, that was the most important thing that State Attorney Harold said, along with our office and the NAACP, Marsha Ellison. So, we are a work in progress. We need to meet before October in order to get the community's input and the stakeholders. So we're hoping that we can get everybody together so everyone that should be involved has some say so in what this should look like and how we should move forward. So it has been tabled for now.
And I think they've labeled the subcommittee the School to Prison Pipeline Subcommittee. Right. So anybody on this board and even listening, if you're interested, you should contact either the school board, the superintendent, Dr. Smiley, or you can contact the NAACP Secretary Ellison. She is the president of the Broward NAACP, to see what you can or cannot do and be involved in. Everybody's a stakeholder. I've gone to speak before the school board, and people will say, you have no children in Broward schools. Yeah, but every year Marty Care sends me a tax bill, and the lion's share of my taxes pay for schools and hospitals. So I'm gonna show up every time I have an opportunity to do so, because my money goes there, and I'm attached to my money. I go where the money goes. So that's important to know. So don't think that because you have no children in school that you shouldn't be involved with juvenile issues and matters, because you pay taxes and you need to know how your money is being spent. Is there anything for the good of the order that we need to know? We didn't need to transact business. This is more of an informational meeting, so I am going to let you go early. I wanted to thunder a little bit to make sure we get the data and information we need to conduct our business. Any announcements? Normally we get them to Ella and she would make the church announcements. All right. What's going on at the courthouse? Anything we need to know about that we can help you with, Judge Wabolo?
No, Judge, everything is quiet about this time.
Okay. Then I think I may see you next week at the bar, the Florida bar meeting. Okay. I am going. I'll show up at the judicial luncheon. You know.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mr. James. Anything for good and order? Anything from the Office of the Public Defender that we need to know about that we can help with?
No, ma'am. All is well.
Okay. Ms. Mashala.
Madam Chair, we have our Broward State Attorney Seal and Expungement Workshop on June 22nd at the Tamarack Community Center.
You have a flyer for that? There
is a flyer that should be circulating, Judge.
If you can get a hand on one and email it to me, I'll make sure it gets out.
Okay.
Right. Anybody else? Major London, Fort Lauderdale, and thank you. I've been seeing the pop-ups that you sent me some emails. So as soon as this meeting ends, I'll go in and see what I can do to start disseminating. I'll post them. Social media and everything. Thank you. All right.
This is a point of clarification. You have one for the Teen Summit, then you also have another one for a dedicated to the community engagement opportunity that's being put on by the YMCA, Miami Heat, in conjunction with the Broward Sheriff's Office later on this month. So it's a 3-day engagement where it's giving the public the chance to interact with police officers, to kind of do role reversals and get an understanding of each other's perspective. And it's a half-day activity. So it should be good for people to participate.
Thank you. And did you all know that Colonel Holmes played football? And he's got an in with the Miami Dolphins, you know. Obel, don't invite him to nothing because you know, he's one of those boys fans. But anything from the BSO that we need to know about and for the good of the order.
Go Eagles. I just want everyone to have a safe summer and let you know that all our contract cities have programs with our youth, and our deputies are going to be engaging with them just to make sure that they're staying active, staying positive, and not getting in any trouble and improving their educational status, because that's something that the entire command staff, starting with the sheriff, we really want to push education to these young kids and find things for them to do and stay active. So all our districts are making sure we stay on top of that so we can have a positive and productive summer. But be safe, everyone.
Thank you. And you all enjoy the 4th of July and don't have a 5th for the 4th. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. Have a great summer. I'll see y'all on July 12th.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.